now let's talk about Doctor Strange.
Now
We can't give away anything, but just
Is it
in
strange?
case it is, and it involves the multiverse and madness.
Okay.
Moving on.
yeah, I can confirm it is a film.
I really enjoyed it. For some reason, the 7 that I gave it is being regarded as extremely negative. I put a recommended on there just to clarify. It is an above average rating. But
It's an above average score.
yes, you'd think
Average is 5.
It is
6.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore. Really,
Okay.
I think maybe I should have given it a 9.
When Kaz doesn't give anything a 6, people start to worry.
Yeah, I get confused. 6 or
Yeah.
9.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I had some had to come to terms with certain things about it, including the fact that for me, after Spider-Man, I was expecting Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And it was probably more Doctor Strange deals with WandaVision after WandaVision finished. And that was a really good film. And I really enjoyed it. But it took me by surprise and probably took me half of the film to realize that what you should really do is sit down, watch the whole of WandaVision, and then watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, in which case it'll be a fantastic film-sized conclusion to that TV series.
So from that little description there, does one have to have seen WandaVision to get the most out of?
Pretty much. Yes.
Yes.
Very much so.
It is compulsory viewing. You have to go through WandaVision, and I would say even going through it relatively close to watching the movie would really do you favors, because Doctor Strange, the sequel, kicks right into it, and it's as if WandaVision just finished. So that's where
that little stinger at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All of that leads.
Yes.
Yeah, you know it. All of that leads straight into this. And the two tie in very nicely, but it took me a while to get used to that, because after he dabbled in the Spider-Man film and unleashed some multiverse fun, I think I expected maybe more of that, except more, like loads more. But it isn't kind of like that. And the posters and no doubt the trailers give it away. I went to see it having not seen any trailers, and I was particularly chuffed because the very, with the opening couple of scenes give away things that I didn't know about because I hadn't seen the trailers. So it's a very good film. It's also worth bearing in mind that it is, more than any other film before in the MCU, a director's film. This is a Sam Raimi film. It's almost unfettered Sam Raimi. He's gone back to all of his Evil Dead playbook rules and trademarks and favorite actors, and he's decided to just bring that into the Marvel universe. And he picked a good realm to do it in, because there's plenty of room for spirits and witches and sorcerers and undead thingies in Doctor Strange, especially featuring Wanda. But I think that you have to fully be on board with the fact that you're going to be watching a Sam Raimi film, which is really refreshing. No, it is.
No bad
thing.
It's
very unusual, considering how many directors were pulled off the Marvel universe for being too particular, let's say, and not towing the line. Whereas it appears he was given final cut within guidelines, I think, final cut privileges.
Yeah, but he's had form, hasn't he? I mean, he's had 3 dabbles in the Marvel universe already, hasn't he? And he did it well. You look at those 3 Spider-Man films, and they were not, barring possibly the Doc Ock opening in Spider-Man 2, that you wouldn't be able to say that they were a Sam Raimi film.
No, but that's what I'd say. It's misleading, isn't it? He's had those 3 Spider-Man films. I expected a Doctor Strange film from the guy who did those Spider-Man films. I didn't. I got to get the Doctor Strange film from the guy who did Evil Dead and Drag Me to Hell. which was great, but I'm surprised that Marvel let him do it.
But it worked, because I think, you know, it didn't start with Raimi, did it? You know, Scott Derrickson came out straight away and said, boom, the sequel is going to be the horror film. So, you know, it was almost like when Derrickson and Feige parted company, it was almost like, right, we've got a short list of directors who need to be able to do horror and have comic book experience. Let's be honest, it's a short list of one, really, isn't it? So, you know, I mean, I agree entirely. I loved that it was Raimi, and there was so much of Raimi in there. You know, the screening I was in, people waiting 10 minutes for that last end of credit stinger, which lasted about 12 seconds. But I mean, my daughter turned to me at the end and said, "What's all that about?" And I'm still laughing. And I said, "Look, I'll tell you when you're older." Yeah, and it was beautiful that it was such a Raimi film. I agree entirely. I mean, I had an absolute blast, probably helped by seeing it in IMAX 3D, which was superb. Oh, it was superb. But I think to address your points about sort of the narrative, what struck me was you think of any films that try and take this notion of a multiverse or something where there's so many things happening all at once, and narratively you can just lose yourself in it. You know, how do you tell a through line story through umpteen different universes? The fact of the matter is you can't. So I think we got just the right amount of different universes, different strangers, shall we say, different, you name it, to maintain the integrity of that story. So yes, my daughter was disappointed that there was no madness. There is. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that there are short little trips through lots of universes, shall we say? And my daughter wanted much more of that. But
the title leads you to believe.
Well, but I don't know what's a spoiler side these days.
Yeah, I understand.
I know. Well, I mean, it's tough because I think if you've seen What If, you've seen what they can do.
Yeah.
So maybe it's difficult because a part of me wanted a bit more of that. But you know what? It was a very enjoyable, very different entry, and people who enjoyed WandaVision will want to see the conclusion to WandaVision, which is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Excellent.
And just to be clear here, my 7 was a recommended rating. Okay.
Yes. I mean, one of the things I will say about it, wasn't it due to come out nearer WandaVision?
Yeah, finishing? I think the whole timetable worked backwards because WandaVision was the first, I think, to be released. And it wasn't supposed to be. It's supposed to be the other way round. And it's supposed to come later.
Falcon was supposed to be first, wasn't it?
So I can imagine if they plotted it out, this being much, much closer. I mean, I understand that narratively it's supposed to take place after Spider-Man. I personally, if they could go back and do it again, wouldn't have necessarily done it that way. I'd probably considered Spider-Man after this.
Yeah, I agree, because I think with the Phase 4 films, you know, with Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, you know, if you have that run of 3 and suddenly you stick in Multiverse of Madness, boom, suddenly it looks an awful lot better. But the fact that it came straight after Spider-Man, which was such a success, I think expectations were probably through the roof unfairly. But I agree with you. I had an absolute blast with it. I thought it was just great fun. Some absolutely amazing cameos, which I won't spoil, obviously, some of which we knew if we'd seen the trailers. Trailers are there to be watched. You do know that.
This is why I didn't watch the trailers.
So, and there's a whole podcast material there.
Yeah,
trailers.
I'm good without it.